Food Safety and Technology, Part 1. Breaking news. Child dies after eating undercooked hamburger. Tailgaters rush to the emergency room after the big game. Severed finger found in a jar of pickles. Traces of pesticides found on local strawberries. Consumers demand labeling of genetically modified foods. Whoa! Keeping the food supply safe and preventing foodborne illnesses are still major public health challenges, and these breaking headlines occur more regularly than we would like. Foodborne illnesses. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, estimates that every year about 48 million people get sick, 128,000 or more hospitalized, and about 3,000 die from foodborne illnesses. Several decades ago, foodborne illnesses were more localized and affected only a few families. But today, the food is mass-produced at central locations and distributed nationally. But today, food is mass-produced at central locations and distributed. However, today, food is mass-produced at central locations and distributed nationally and globally. Thus, poor food handling and processing can make hundreds or even thousands of people ill. Common symptoms of foodborne illnesses. Now, you may refer to this as having the stomach flu, but these are the common symptoms: diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, fever, weakness, and abdominal cramps. So let's look at what causes foodborne illnesses. So now let's look at the causes of foodborne illnesses. Most foodborne illnesses occur when we eat foods contaminated with bacteria or other pathogens such as parasites or viruses. Many foods are grown in the soil and can become contaminated during growth and harvest. So there should not be really a big alarm that there is some degree of contamination, because if food is actually grown in dirt and microorganisms live in dirt and dirt is, well, dirty, foods can easily become contaminated. It's how we handle those raw foods that's the most important part, okay? Contamination can also occur during packing, processing, distribution, storing, and food preparation at home or in a restaurant. So what we have here is the classic epidemiologic triad. We have the host, you. We have the agent. This is the organism that's going to cause you to get sick. And we have the environment, which would be conducive for that organism to grow and thrive. So the biological agents, these include bacteria, molds, fungi, yeast, parasites, and viruses. And about 90% of foodborne illnesses are actually caused by bacteria. The environmental agents can make you sick also. And potential environmental agents include pesticides and pesticide residues, lead, mercury, arsenic, dioxin, cadmium, acrylamide, polychlorinated biphenyls, urethane, And now we can move to the host, or you. Which groups are most vulnerable to becoming ill from foodborne organisms? They include pregnant women, infants and young children, the elderly, alcoholics, and those with compromised immune systems. So the very young, the very old, and those with compromised immune system. And those with compromised immune systems would also include people with HIV/AIDS, people with cancer. Ideal environmental conditions for bacterial growth include warmth. They love it warm. Darkness. Bacteria grow primarily in dark areas. Moisture. They need food and they love especially high protein foods. Time. They must have time to reproduce and to grow. And also the pH, whether or not they're grown in primarily acid or alkaline environments. Now let's look at temperature. Bacteria grow best between 60 degrees Fahrenheit and 120 degrees Fahrenheit, or 15 degrees Celsius to 49 degrees Celsius. Note that some can even grow between 110 degrees Fahrenheit and 150 degrees Fahrenheit, or 43 degrees Celsius to 65 degrees Celsius. Others can live and multiply under refrigeration. So sometimes you open your refrigerator and you see some green looking stuff, or you open a container and there's something fuzzy and you don't even remember what it was. So we can inhibit bacterial growth by putting things in the refrigerator at least 45 degrees Fahrenheit or 7 degrees Celsius or lower. Or we can heat the food to at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius, depending on the food. So essentially, after you have your meal, put the leftovers in the refrigerator immediately. And when you're ready to reheat your leftovers or your takeout, make sure you're reheating it to at least 140 degrees. Now, it's important to note that contamination usually occurs between preparation and serving. And so the time between food preparation and serving should be limited to 2 hours or less. So just pause for a minute and think about how long food is usually left out during Thanksgiving, from the time it was made early in the morning till dinner time, or when you go to a barbecue or a cookout. 2 hours or less. Food safety principles. The basic 4 food safety principles identified to reduce the risk of foodborne illnesses are: clean your hands and cooking surfaces. Separate produce and cooked foods from raw meats, poultry, and fish. And this is even important at the grocery store when your foods are being bagged. Different bags, and do not put raw meat with your fruits and veggies or your dairy. Cook and reheat foods to appropriate internal temperatures. And chill or freeze raw foods until time to cook, and always refrigerate your leftovers as soon as possible.